This roof is filthy. Can you clean and restore a soft top roof on a car that's this bad for less than £10 with products purely from Amazon? So we're gonna try 2 different products to see if we can restore this terrible, moldy, soft top convertible roof. One is a Demon Shine product, Car Plan Fabric Upholstery Shampoo. And the other is a Car Wash Company Convertible Specific Soft Top Cleaner. Both were sub £10 off Amazon with relatively decent reviews. We're gonna tape down the middle of the roof. We're gonna see how good of a comparison we can get between these 2 products, see which one's best, and if either of them work at all. I haven't taped it down the middle, I have taped it like utter shit. So we're gonna start over on the driver's side. I've got my Super Upholstery Shampoo from Car Plan, Demon Fabric, generic sort of semi-soft, semi-stiff brush. The instructions I'm going to follow as close to the T as possible, see how they would work based off what the manufacturers say they should. We're going to start by spraying the product all over the roof. Whilst the product is still wet, we're going to scrub with the brush, wipe with a dry microfiber, well, slightly damp microfiber. If it's bad, we're going to give it another pass. We're going to go 1 to 2 passes depending on how well the product works. Oh dear, I'm pulling everything up. This is not going well. Oh, this stuff smells so bad. Now, I'm not sure whether my brush that I'm using is the issue, or whether this product isn't quite strong enough, or whether it says upholstery cleaner. Obviously a soft top is upholstery. However, I don't know if it's strong enough for this. This roof is pretty bad. It's been sat for a while. I don't know whether it would be worth having a go with a stiffer brush. I have got a drill brush with me, so that might be worth a try. Obviously I want to keep things fair between the 2 products, so whatever I do on this side I will be repeating on the other, just for sake of leaving it all down to the product in hand. Not the best result. I was hoping for a little bit better. The slightly less stained section on the front isn't too bad, but there is still far too much build up of mold and things like that on it. I'm going to switch over to the drill brush and see if we can just agitate it a little bit more, get a better result, see if we can really work it into the fabric and pull those stains and build up of long-term damage out. I don't know how well this is going to work. I think because it is an upholstery shampoo as opposed to a specific rooftop cleaner, because it is so far gone, I don't think it's going to be a man enough product to really get all those stains out. So we've just hit it with the second pass. This time we've gone over it with the drill brush. I think it's worked a little bit better. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's 100% great in all honesty. However, it has really made a difference. You can tell if you just look between the 2 sides of the tape. I think there's definitely more room for improvement, and I think there's definitely better options out there. As a quick fix, if it's slightly stained or it's not too bad, I reckon it probably can work really well. I think for this roof is just slightly too far gone for it. So there's probably better options out there, and it needs something slightly more aggressive. I think maybe even a wet vac on this would probably work quite well. Might be something that I try further down the line. Okay, so the way this next product works from the Car Wash Company, it's a convertible soft top cleaner. So this is specific for soft tops, so this may work a little bit better. It says to start with rinsing the roof fabric with plain water from a hose. So I'm going to lightly rinse the roof off just with the pressure washer from a distance, just to get it a little bit damp. So we're going to do half the sachet into a litre of water, just for sake of not blowing through the whole thing, because we don't need it all, we're only doing half a roof. And then there's a specific application process for this, including you've got to pop it on a wet sponge, work it in, and then scrub hard with it. So we're going to go through it as it says with the instructions, just like the last product. It is slightly different, which kind of negates the fairness of the test. However, I feel like following the directions to the T is probably a better bet to get the most out of each product to see which one really works the best. Ooh, Astoria. So we've applied the cleaner to the roof with the sponge as it says by the instructions. Now we're going to give it a scrub with the first brush we used on the other side for sake of keeping things fair. We're then going to see how we're looking, wipe it off, rinse it off as it says in the instructions. Then if it still needs some, which I expect it probably will, reapply it to the roof and then attack it with the drill brush, rinse off, wipe off, rinse the whole roof, pull the tape off and see if we can see a difference. So the instructions say that after applying this and scrubbing, you need to reapply it with the same sponge you used previously. Not entirely sure what the reason is for this, but we're going to go with it. I'm going to slap some more on, then I believe it's rinse off, wipe, see how we're looking, and then possibly repeat again. So I've just read the packaging. It says I need to let the solution sit on the roof for 30 minutes. If you've got tougher stains or mould, leave up to an hour. Rinse off well with clean water and then dry with a microfiber cloth. If there's still stains, repeat the process. Yeah. So apparently it's got quite a long time for pulling the various fecal matter out of the sunroof. I'm pretty sure this is going to need another pass, but already I think it's working better than the other side. When scrubbing and all that sort of stuff on the fabric, you can see a lot more green coming up, which is a good sign. It means it's pulling things out. As a process, it's slightly more complicated than the other side. However, for the end result, for also a very cheap product, I think we're probably going to get a much better final comparison and final better stage finish on the very specific soft top cleaner as opposed to just the upholstery cleaner. So we're going to rinse this off, give it a dry, see how we're looking. So far this side is looking considerably better in my opinion. I think it still does need another pass, so we're going to come back and hit that one again. But so far I think it's a much more concentrated cleaner. I think it's pulling things out a lot nicer. It's really getting in, removing some of those stains. It's bringing the colour back a little bit nicer. It's really getting in and just lifting the dirt, which I feel like the other side just isn't doing. Like you said, we'll come back tomorrow and do it, but I'm gonna be good at speaking today, I've decided. Right, so we're back a couple of days later. After reading the packet, right, so we're back a couple of days later. Ran out of time the other day. So we're going to come back, and after reading the packaging, it does say if the stains are really bad, which they are on this roof, to leave it sort of 45 minutes to an hour to really let it soak in and pull it out. So we're going to give it another blast over because we've still got the second pass to do on this side. We're going to leave it on 45 minutes to an hour, rinse it off, wipe it down, and see how it's looking after. I think this might actually work quite well. No! Where's your PPE? You should be wearing a face mask when you polish. Sorry, mate, it's not the 1980s. It's not criminally toxic. Sanding, yes, but to be honest with you, I think what they were referring to in the video was the comment I made about the acid going up my nose. I probably should have been wearing a face mask to that. So we have pulled the car outside. We have done both sides of the roof. I haven't got a bigger difference between the two products as I was hoping for, I will be perfectly honest. However, I think there are a few little differences that you can sort of see. I don't know how well they'll come out on camera. This side was the one we used the Demon Fabric car plan cleaner on. I think it's worked okay, especially in this rear corner patch and down by the window at the back. It's not really pulled many of the stains out. But on this top section up here, I think we've got quite a nice result. It'd be nice if it could have done it over the whole roof. It would have looked probably really nice. I think it's definitely an option, that's for sure. But I don't quite think it's strong enough for something that's this bad. I think if you've recently bought a second-hand convertible that's maybe a little bit just dingy and you want to like brighten it up a little bit, it's definitely a good way of going about it. All in all, I think that's not too bad, but definitely not man enough for a job like this. You can sort of see down in here where it's still a little bit green. Obviously we've done 2 passes over it, giving it a nice good scrub, drill brush, a couple of different things to try and really get the best out of the product. And I don't quite think it's a strong enough product for this job in particular. Moving around to this side of the car, we have the sachet packet with the powder that you dilute into your water, and sort of a bit more of a long-winded process. I think this side was probably maybe a little bit worse for wear than the other side. I think it's done a very good job of cleaning things up. And I definitely think it's a nice change from where we started. But again, I just think this roof is so mouldy and got like too far gone that unless we go in with some almost industrial grade cleaners, it's never going to come up perfect. Probably something I might do at a later date. However, I think, again, like the other side, if it's just something you need to spruce up at home on a car, it's not that bad. You've just bought a second-hand convertible, it's definitely a good option. I think maybe trying it on something that's not so bad is probably a good idea. you could probably see quite a nice result out of it. And I think for less than £10, these products do actually do quite a good job. Obviously, it just depends on how bad your roof is. This is definitely an interesting topic, to say the least. Fabric roofs aren't something that everyone comes across. So it's quite a specific thing to be dealing with. But yeah, for a cheap price, cheap fix, it's definitely worth it if obviously it's not that far gone. So out of the two, I think it's quite hard to pick a winner. I think for a slightly better result, I'd probably go with the powder that's diluted down. It's a little bit longer of a process, but I think it might just be that much stronger. So might be better off with that one. I think the car plan is definitely a good choice if it's just something that needs a quick spruce up. But I think personally for me, the powder is probably a better option. That is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, comment, all that lovely stuff. We always like to hear from you lot. Subscribe to see more of this sort of thing.